All right, cool. Everybody, I don't know if you can hear me. This is your host of this space, Kevin. Kicking it off the show for today, so it'll just be me, just talking about the basics. For right now, um, we just released our February performance report. So our treasury, overall, it's down because ACYC, the token, is a large portion of our holding. We include our ACYC holdings in part of our funds. So even though we manage a bunch of different positions, we still do include the ACYC that the advisory fund and our liquidity pool holds and our holdings. So right now, for the month, it'll show that our treasury is down overall, but our investment performance is very high. So, um, Bogger, do you want to kick it off with Mimas? Mimas is our minting protocol.
Yeah, sure. We're excited about Mimas for sure. So we introduced that partially through last month, and that's, it's our minting protocol. It lets us, grab a bunch of mints when they're happening, and it's also where we classify, our whitelists and stuff like that. So we funded Mimas with 7 ETH, and Mimas is now up to 21 ETH, and that's not even, Mimas hasn't existed for all of the last month. So, that's a 3x basically on where we started with Mimas, which is very exciting. And that's, basically no risk at all. Because, most of the time, if we're minting something that has already had a pre-sale and the floor is higher than the minting price. So as long as you can mint those, it's basically zero risk investment rewards. Same thing with whitelists. Good projects, whitelists, it's zero risk and you can have massive returns. So we're very excited to introduce Mimas and very happy with the performance of that so far.
Cool. And then moving on to Titan. Titan is our farming fund. Uncle Pennybags or Uncle Treasure Bags or the bank man manages our farming funds, and currently our farming funds are up 53 Ethereum since the last report, which I believe was January. And Pennybags only works with, I believe, about 100 to 120 Ethereum. So that's up massively. For he does a part yield farming, part shorting or longing the market. I think thus far, every time Ethereum has gone above $3,000, Penny has just shorted it. Bogger, you can chime in if I'm wrong, but I believe that every time we go for 3,000, Pennybags just opens a short. And he's confident in his shorts. One time he opened a short and it went back up, and he kept it open. Um, and he's been right every time. If I copy traded Pennybags, I'd be in a great position too. But luckily, that's why we have ACYC. So yeah, our Titan farming doing amazing. Extremely impressed with that. Our NFT Atlas fund. Atlas is our NFT fund. It's doing well as well. Can't say that we've been making any giant or opening any giant positions on it, or doing much on it at all. We talked about it in the last space. This is kind of like the boring part of the market where we go from 2,300 Ethereum to $3,000 Ethereum. And yes, that's up like roughly 40%, but it's just crabbing. We're just ranging between two prices between low 2,000s and trying to break 3,000. And this is where a lot of money can be lost, and a small amount of money can be gained. So there's less opportunities for profit and more opportunities for losing money. And you'll notice that we aren't opening or closing any large positions. We don't have ACYC is our largest token holding position, because we believe in ourselves. But as far as NFT going, basically we're holding some Bored Apes, one Azuki, and everything else is kind of just a mesh bag. Because we really, it wouldn't be if anybody said, oh, I just started a DAO and we're looking to acquire NFTs, the first thing I would tell them is, okay, well, what percentage of your DAO are you willing to spend right now? Because if you were spending anything over 10%, that'd be foolish because it's just a guessing game. A lot of people right now in NFTs are realizing that, oh, I can only wear one profile picture. Why am I sweeping the floor of hundreds? So we're in an odd position. Our Atlas fund, though, we've made a couple or opened and closed a couple positions on capitulation. So we bought um, Invisible Friends at 5 Ethereum, and I believe we just closed that today at like 7 Ethereum. Even though the floor is still rising, all we're doing is trying to grow our Ethereum stack, long-term bullish Ethereum, and not trying to have too much exposure to losses. So even though Ethereum is going down, is going up, we're still trying to have the same number of Ethereum, if not just a little bit more. You know, after the first day stuff bounces, we're not sweeping the floors. We are just watching, monitoring, seeing who recovers strong, who doesn't recover. I know every time Azuki's tried to go down, it just seems like they get new buyers all the time. But that's not the case for everybody. There's a bunch of stuff that it goes down and doesn't go up. So yeah, as far as our NFT Atlas fund goes, not opening giant positions, not trying to swing the market, not trying to get the latest mint or sweep the floor. Just trying to play it safe and waiting for a clear sign on what to do. Then Bogert, do you want to touch on the Solana?
Yeah, totally. So Solana, it's a similar market to the Ethereum market right now where there's not too much happening. That being said, in the few weeks that we've had the Solana branch going, they're up 10% overall in the whole portfolio, which is great. And, as the market picks up a little better, gets more momentum, we expect to see those, gains multiply exponentially. So, where we're at right now, it's just a nice taste. It's nice green in the portfolio, and we're getting exposure, to quite a few projects over there. I know we're holding several positions right now that we think will, accrue a significant amount of value in the, short to medium term. So yeah, that's just, floor price of our assets and realized gains up 10% so far. So Solana is going well, our branch out into other chains, and we plan to do more of that, be it through NFTs or, farming other chains. Expanding our infrastructure is something that we're always looking to do. So yeah, that's been going very well. I guess
Yeah,
too, yeah,
yeah. If you want
you're
to build on that real quick, I got a crying girl of an arm.
no, you're good. So yeah, at Pan, our Pan is our algorithm that snipes new tokens. Pan's largest gain was 27,000%, 270x gain, and we had Pan off for most of last month as well. We touched on it in some previous spaces. Sometimes we turn Pan into, a bear market mode, but sometimes the market is so bearish that it's better to just turn Pan off. So that's been the case. We turn Pan on and off depending on market sentiment, where we're seeing things. But in the period of time that Pan was on last month, Pan bagged several gains, with the largest being in a token called Saitoki. And yeah, we got a 270x there, which was a very significant amount of Ethereum. And again, that just funds future Pan investments, as well as goes back into our ecosystem for investing elsewhere. So very bullish on Pan. We're always refining Pan as well, perfecting the entries, perfecting the exits, making sure that we can hit those as accurately as possible. So yeah, Pan, Mimas, our protocols are operating super well. As Nate said, with NFTs, we haven't been doing much. We are up significantly floor price wise in our portfolio, because we sniped a Diamond Grill Bored Ape, which unfortunately had been actually hacked and stolen from Nate. Um, there was a whole OpenSea exploit, and they targeted Nate and they stole a bunch of his assets, including this Bored Ape, which he had sniped previously. And I believe we actually bought it back from LooksRare as ACYC because it was still priced at a good spot, or maybe we put an offer on it. But yeah, that's a massive unrealized gain. The floor for those is like 210 ETH right now. I think we picked it up for 120 ETH. Um, So we're sitting on that. Besides that, we haven't, as Nate said, we haven't taken any large positions. Our largest single trade there was Carrefour. We had one that we got for 4 ETH and we sold it for 12 ETH, which is a very nice gain, $24,000 gain there on one asset. So, again, that's just going back to, NFTs are a great way to leverage funds and exponentially grow the stack versus crypto. It's a lot harder to bag a 3x in this period of time in as safe of a means as it is NFTs. So, yeah, our overall performance, we're very happy with. For the past month, all of our systems are go. They're golden. Total farming assets up basically 150 ETH in the last month. The overall market is bearish, so we're going to try and reframe things to be thinking more in ETH terms, less in dollar terms, because we were talking about reaching $10 million treasury with Q1. And we'd like to get as close to that as possible. But realistically, what we'd like to do is stack as much ETH as possible, because it's possible, ETH goes down to 1,800 again. And then, where's your $10 million treasury when that happens? But if we have more Ethereum, that's the goal. And that's going very well. So our funds under active management have gone up significantly, even though the token price of ACYC has gone down, which we're fine with. I would love ACYC to go down more so we could buy up more supply. The more supply that we hold in the long run, the better, because A, we're bullish on ACYC, and B, that can cause a supply shock. So if we're able to, buy up ACYC in all of the times that it goes low, then for the next bull season, we can have a nice hold over our own supply. So that's basically where we're at with our, whole treasury, our performance report for the month. We'll always be expanding this too, providing different information on there and fine tuning it. But yeah, that's where we're at there. I think next to that, something to talk about is our intro video is live. We put in a ton of work into that. It was done fully in-house by our designers, our wonderful Wall Street Stonks, who has the golden voice. It's a great asset. It's a great resource for sharing what ACYC is. We want to get the message out there and make it as simple as possible. There's a lot of stuff that we're doing that's very complicated with farming and things people don't understand. And sort of disseminating that down into a very palatable format is our goal. And the video is the fruition of that, the first iteration of that as well. We will be creating more content aimed at educating and integrating people into this ecosystem, especially people who are non-native to it. So that video is a great resource, and we hope everybody shares that. Anytime you want to, learn or share what ACYC is with someone, now we have that to go off of. So that's great. Yeah. Next, something we should touch on. Yeah, you go in, Nate. I was going to say the MCC stuff would be maybe good to talk about.
Yeah, I'll touch on the MCC stuff real quick. For those who aren't aware, MCC is a multi-chain capital, which basically they farm on different chains. So they'll farm yield farm on different chains, and to put it bluntly, it was one of the first farming DeFi things that came about. And it kind of shined the light on how farming as a service could be, how big it could be, and investing as a service mixed with that as well. But yeah, I don't want to say there's FUD about the project, because the community is amazing. The people working on MCC are great. They just have a giant roadblock, which is complete centralization. So this is supposed to be DeFi, decentralized finance. And for MCC, it's actually just completely centralized at the moment. They have one main guy who started the project. His name's Mr. Capital. And he's the only one that has control over the funds of the project. So nobody else can make transfers. Nobody else can withdraw money or say how things are, going to be invested in or what goes down. It's, at the end of the day, it's just him. And I believe up until today, he hadn't talked or wouldn't respond to any of the other team members for the last 10 days. So he had about $20 million, $12 million in stables. He was farming. He was paying people on the payroll. He was continuing the operation, but he has a ginormous team of people that he works with, like a master farmer, community members, community managers, and he just would not respond to them for 10 days straight. And, nobody could, know what was going on. And the issue with that is, you can have a great idea, you can have a great team, you can have a great project community, but if it's completely centralized, then what's it all for? What if one guy, say Mr. Capital, fell over, croaked in his bed. Next morning you wake up, all the investors don't know what's going on. Mr. Capital's parents or next of kin have no idea that Mr. Capital has $20 million, that he's supposed to be farming with, and everything goes to the trash. And that's, the difference between us and MCC or some other farming as a service or DeFi protocols is, any of us pass away, majority of us pass away, majority of us lose our access to the treasury. It doesn't matter because, we are centralized but also decentralized at the same time. If one of us goes missing for 10 days, the show still goes on, the conversations still happen, and other members of the team can, delegate what we do going forward. And so I think it kind of today and like the past few days have woken up the eyes of a few other projects that they're in the DeFi space, but they're actually still completely centralized. And their money is or isn't safe. They just have to trust that it will be okay. And that one guy who isn't doxxed in real life, during these past 10 days, people have tried to find out who he is in real life and had no idea. But when it comes to ACYC, we've submitted KYC to multiple exchanges. We've doxed to each other. We've doxed to community members. You never have to fear that one of us are going to skirt off or not continue the operation. So this isn't FUD towards MCC specifically. It's just kind of one of those things where when you take a step back and look at what's going on, you can see who's here to last, or who's built a project around something that doesn't revolve around one person but revolves around an idea in the community, and who is actually doing what they say they're going to do, being a front face of DeFi 3.0. And ACYC, and there's some other people who are doing a great job, and not trying to fight MCC, just shining light to what's going on and how we carry ourselves compared to others. So yeah, not fighting, just bringing that up because I used to have a big bag in MCC. They were one of the people who got me excited in DeFi 3.0 at the start, but yeah, I don't know if I could buy a bag after that. It's been missing for 10 days, and yeah.
Yeah, and just to expand on that, like communication with the community, as you guys know, we've been here at the beginning every other day we had spaces, and now we regularly do it every week. You guys know you can always get in contact with us. I think that's huge, being able to speak with people directly and not just meet a wall or wonder what's going on is, paramount for what we're doing. It's like Nate said, this is a DeFi, we should all be involved, have a hand, have a say. You should never just be wondering what someone's going to do. And no FUD on MCC as a protocol in any way, shape, or form. They have a great community. Where they, as Nate said, they sort of started farming as a service in a way, and got us all excited for it. But I think that type of management style is something we've always tried to, subvert. Those were my issues personally as a holder early on with that protocol. And, part of the inspiration for what we could do here, because we're here to interact, to meet people face to face, to talk about ACYC, not skirt questions, not go missing. And this whole thing is just highlighting the importance of that in this space. If you want to build something resilient and long lasting, you have to be willing to communicate consistently, and we are. So we're always here for that, and figured it was just a good thing to touch on given the climate of things. But yeah.
I'd actually like to add something. I'm really proud of our community and the way that we are portraying ourselves on social media when things like this happen. I posted something on the Twitter Raids channel in the ACYC Discord, And I was talking about, on a PR standpoint, on a marketing standpoint, it's always best to take the stance of welcoming people, staying educational, and not attacking or spreading FUD. Creating an environment where people feel safe. We don't want ACYC to seem like a bully in the space, but when things like this happen, it does create an opportunity for, I don't want to say like capture market share and just like take over, but I'm saying you create an environment where there are holders who might be affected by all of this FUD, and they might be looking around for another place to go, or they might be looking around for another place to add. And I love to see our community just staying positive, staying nice and educational and welcoming all over Twitter. So keep that up. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our community does a great job with that, and educating people and bringing people into farming as a service, and sort of illustrating the potential that this type of protocol can have has always been our goal. And so, bringing people into ACYC, introducing people to ACYC to understand this is a community that's here to share, here to talk, here to meet things head on. Will always remain that way. And I think we'd like to set that standard, as the norm in this space, because it absolutely should be. And I think, that's what I could say about that. I don't know, Nate, what you have to add.
No, I mean that's it as far as that goes forward. We I wouldn't deem us DeFi if there wasn't something DeFi about us, or it's decentralized. So if we make a fuck up, we want you guys to know about the fuck up. If we have success, we want you to know about the success. Our only goal is to be as communicative as possible, and strive towards more decentralization with just the proper amount of centralization, and there's a fine balance. So that's all I can touch on that. Do we want to just move on to market conditions, or?
Yeah, I think we could touch on the market. It's certainly like a super strange one. It's probably be good to give a take on it.
Yeah, so it is what it is. Uh, the difference between this and a bull or a bear market is, in the bear market there's a plentiful amount of opportunities to lose money, and in a bull market there's plentiful amount of opportunities to make money. And right now we're in the chop, which is the best time to 5x your stack and the easiest time to minus 50% your stack. So if you've ever traded chop, or if you've ever taken extremely highly concentrated gambles, then maybe you'll do okay in this market. But at the moment, it's a losing game. I think the most exciting thing to do is sell Ethereum when it goes over $3,000, and just start buying when it goes under, and then see how many you can get. But as far as trading NFTs, as far as trading tokens go, it's complete gamble. You know, it's hard to say this, but like you look at charts and you look at the chart and go, wow, it looks like it's bottomed. But in reality, it can go down so much further. Or you look at something and it's like, oh, I bought at this price way up here, I should DCA now. And then you look at it and you're like, but what if it goes down more? Because it easily could. And then boom, it 3x's and you're sad and you're buying more at the top, and then it goes down again. So there's just so many opportunities to lose money here. And I think everybody's best bet is to practice having a hedged portfolio. So 30% stables, 30% or 40% Ethereum or Bitcoin, and 30% or 20% gamble money, because that's all it is right now. Everything's a gamble. We're technically like in the dip, but we're technically not in the dip. So no real advice on the market other than don't try to gamble your bankroll. It's always best to make your bets when everything's clear or everything's becoming clear. Like right now, we had Ethereum bounce back up to 3,000 right after Russia announced that they were, becoming ready for nuclear warfare or something. And Ethereum going to $3,000 right after that is kind of odd, kind of strange, kind of a telltale sign that this is an irrational market, because it's just people going, wow, that's the worst thing that can happen in this scenario, is that Russia gets nuclear. So the worst is just past. Let's all just buy back in because that was the bottom. But then you realize, well, actually, the worst could be if they actually nuke. And, this war is not going to end soon. And people like to tie FUD to anything. So even if, the net of the Russia Ukraine thing should be that people want to buy Bitcoin and want to buy Ethereum, they won't, because it's it's so much more profitable right now that if something's going to be long term bullish, go up, that at least let's try to milk some more money on the short term by shorting it. So yeah, just my only advice is to just stay vigilant, stay liquid, stay stable, stay hedged. Don't get emotional trade, and plan for what you're going to do. So, like for me in the last space, I said that I was going to buy the World token after the NFT Worlds got their airdrop, and I did, and it was a safe little 25% gain. Um, and then other than that, like we had this random MCC FUD today where it went down like 55%, and so I put a little stack in that, because if in my my rule is if anything goes down 55%, that is fuddy but can be solved, then I'll buy. And then it went up 50% from where I bought, and I sold. Actually went up 60%, and now it's back down to almost where I bought. So basically just sticking to plays I know, sticking to plays stay in your comfort zone. Don't expect anything to go to the moon, and if you get profit, take it off the table. We aren't in a bull market. Nobody's gonna be your exit liquidity if you're already trying to sell at the top. And if you're buying something, make sure everybody always says like, oh, what do I say? It's so coincidental that bullish news happens as the chart looks like it's going to break out, and bearish news comes as it looks like it's going to break down. A lot of it's coincidental, but people like to ride the back of it. So like if Bitcoin announced some crazy ETF today, and the chart looked like it was about to break up, then those two things together would cause it to break up, because it's just so much easier to ride the flow. So if you're looking at buying a project that you think is severely undervalued, then check to see if they have anything bullish coming out. Like, are they working on something that's about to come to an end? Are they about to announce a report? Are they, onboarding a new team? Are they, publicly working on what they say they're working on? And if the chart looks low and they are, then buy, and maybe they'll have some news and it'll go up. But make sure you're not just gambling based off the price. Make sure that it aligns with some type of bullish news. And if you're looking to sell something, always try to talk to yourself. Like, what is the case that this is a good time to sell? Are we pushing all-time high? Did we just rebound 100% in the last week? Are we up 30% on the day? Look at those type of things and decide whether or not you're going to sell. But other than that, so much safer to stay stable and wait for the market to decide. Because whenever we actually turn bullish, or whenever we actually turn extremely bearish, it's not just 10 to 12 hours of opportunity. Usually it's a couple or weeks or a couple months. Like this recent NFT bull probably lasted about 6 weeks of strong, like you can buy something and it'll go up. So you don't always have to be like the first one. Also, you don't have to front run anybody. Front running can also be just as detrimental to your stack as just waiting for confirmation. So my biggest piece is if there is some bullish news or some confirmation that the markets are going to recover. If Russia says, "Hey, Ukraine, we're sorry for that. We're actually heading out," then yeah, get those 30% of stables you have, put them in Ethereum, Bitcoin. Open up your degen stacks. They're probably at a lower price. Just protect your capital. That's the game we're in. We're protect your capital. And this is the time to grind and look into the fundamental analysis of what you're buying and what you hold. Did you sweep the floor of some trash at 0.1 or 0.2, or did you buy some moonshot and you stole the bag? Now is the time to readjust your portfolio. And that's all I have to say about the current market.
Yeah, I don't think I could add anything better than that. Staying liquid is great right now. It's definitely a really weird market. It is a great time, value plays, seek some value plays. There are some floors that are just like ungodly low. And as Nate said, if you're looking and you see that they're working on stuff, if you hear in their discords, they're talking about partnerships, things like that, it can definitely be a good time to secure some, super cheap NFTs. But next to that, yeah, not taking any large positions either. I think that's, you know, a great summary of the market sentiment. So yeah, I think that's basically what we have to share today, right?
Yeah, that's all we have. Basically, we just wanted to get together, have our space, communicate what's going on, our successes, our what we're moving towards, and then also to, this isn't anything different than last week in terms of market sentiment. Last week we said we're staying liquid, we're staying underexposed to the markets, the swings. As ACYC, as an investment fund slash farming as a service, our only goal is to outperform the market. So if you held 200K last week and today it's 160K, we expect that if we were holding that 200K for you, that we would have more than you do. So we would expect that if you went down 40K, no matter what you did, like if you gambled or even if you just held Ethereum, we would expect that we would have something like 180 to 190K. We would expect to not be so exposed to the downside. And seemingly that is the case. Some NFTs are down 50% since last week. Some are down more. Some are down 20, 30%. Our NFT stacks are exactly where they were. Our entries are great. We're comfortable with our entries. Our Ethereum prices are, we're comfortable with those. As Ethereum goes down, we already have shorts. So, we're staying visual. We're staying under control of our funds. And so that's why we hold these spaces, just to let you guys know how we're playing it. If next week I come on super bullish or we come on super bullish, then expect there to be some like super bullish sentiment in the market. But we can't create the bull, we can't create the bear. We can only read what's happening, and sometimes it's confusing. Sometimes reading the market isn't as easy as looking at charts, even though it can be. Sometimes it's creating a story on why the technical analysis matches with I almost call it the emotional analysis. Why it might go down, why it might go up, why it might be crabbing. Long term though, like to be honest, if anyone wanted to go take a vacation, just put all your money in Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now, in my opinion, I'm starting to get excited about 3x's again, because Bitcoin to 100K is happening in our lifetime. Bitcoin to 150K in this year could happen. Bitcoin to 150K in quarter two could happen. If that's the only thing we're sure of, but we're not here to, just gamble on Bitcoin. We're here to be, an active farming and investment fund. But that's my only advice as well, is if you don't want to have exposure to these ups and downs, and a little cheeky 3x is comfortable for you in the next year or two, then just hold some Bitcoin.
Sweet. Well, yeah, I mean, I think with that we can call it here, Nate. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just call it right here. I think that was a fun space, but in general, like nothing's going to drastically change week from week. Our narrative will stay the same. It's just giving connecting with the community and giving updates and insights to what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. We'll be here next week again. And that's basically it. Thank you guys for tuning into this week's ACYC Spaces. And if you have any questions, catch us in the Discord. You can always ping me, and I will get back